Okay, let's go ahead and make some marquee selections. So let's take these layers here. I want to merge them down. So if you are following along on the notes, in the layers to make a copy of a layer is Control J. To drop or merge it to the layer below is Control E. So if I have all of this, all these different shapes I made on different layers, so I want to combine them. I go to the one on top, topmost layer here. I'm going to leave the screen one on top, top just for now. I hit Control E, and you'll see the pixels inside that thumbnail will drop down. So there goes one. Hit Control E again. And one more time, and it gives you a pretty good visual representation in the thumbnail view of what is on there. And if I go to V, my move key, and I have auto select by layer still turned on. So if I go click on the background, see now nothing's selected, right? But if I go click here, it hops to that automatically. If I turn on the top layer again, and I go, this is where there's a cutout opening inside of it, right? So like through here, there's no pixels, right? So if I'm on that layer here and I click there, it's going to click on below it because that's open. But if I go to the side here where the pixels are on that layer, it's going to automatically hop to that layer. You see it turns blue. So it tells me, okay, hey, if you click on that, that's the layer. It's going to go to that layer. It's going to move that stuff. If I turn this on, if I go to that layer, you see it turns blue on up here in the layers palette. See that it's turning blue. If I go back to the area where there's just the top, it's going to only do that one. If I click and move that one, you see that one moves. Undo that. All right, so if I go here, turn off the top, and go to marquee and spacebar to center what I'm going and Z to zoom in and out. If I go in here and let's say I want to add these on there. So I click drag one time. Okay, after I do that, if I want to move it, I can. And let's say I want to make a little some cutout openings on here. So I hold down shift, it's going to add to the selection. Now, as I have shift held down and I'm clicking and dragging, if I want to move it as I drag, I hold down shift plus spacebar. And now I can move that to right where I want to get it. And then when I let go of the spacebar, it lets you continue dragging out the length and width of the rectangle. So that's shift drag to add. In mid drag, if I want to stop and move it, I hit spacebar along with it. And then when I get it more positioned where I want it to go, I let go of spacebar. So that is extremely powerful to use. So I'm going to go in here and make some cutouts across the board. I have no design aesthetic, no pattern. I'm not trying to do any emphasis. I'm not trying to arrange them any particular way. I'm going to hit the delete key. Now, if I want to copy and paste this, if I hit Control X and then Control V, see it didn't copy it right into the same place. If I hit Control C, copy, and Control V, paste, you'll see if I click on that, yeah, and Control D that, you'll see it put those pixels there, but I didn't cut them out. Now, if I want to use these pixels here, if I want to select all the pixels inside of that layer, I hold down Control and I go up to the layer thumbnail, and I click on that. You see the little marquee hand, a little marquee square appears with the hand that's holding Control. When you hover over the top skin and I tap one time, you'll see the marching ants appear around everything on that layer. It actually is a constrained selection. So it's constrained to select whatever's only on that layer. So let's try it with the other layer here. So I want to deselect that, go to the other marquee layer, and let's go ahead and delete it though. Let's delete what's in there and turn that one off. So I used that area that I had selected, this one, to delete what's below. Control D to deselect. And let's say I want to select just the pixels on the marquee layer. Hold down Control, tap one time, and it's going to select all those pixels. So if I wanted to go to a layer below it, let's go, so this marquee 01, let's go to a layer below it. So Control Shift N, and we'll call it marquee underscore 01 underscore shadows, something like that. Okay, so if I turn that off, I can see the selection still there around it, but I'm in this layer. If I want to bring back the black and the white, if I just hit the D key, that's going to go default pure black, pure white. Or I could go inside this this foreground color and I can pick it whatever shade I want. For this one, I'm just going to go pure black with it. And I want to fill this selection instead of going, remember G for gradient and Shift G. can switch between gradient and the fill bucket. Instead of doing that, though, what I like to do is just go Alt Delete the fills with the foreground color. And if I turn that one on now and hit Control D again, I can go in here and voila. Let's go ahead and turn that one off and then go to V to move it. And I'm just going to move that a little bit like that. Turn this one on above it. There we go. So now you can see down here that these mirrors it perfectly if I get it locked in there. But that now I have this other layer that's got the same exact shape, but it's filled with one single solid color, right? And if I want to, I can lower the opacity way down. It'll look a little bit more, possibly like a little bit of a shadow. And we'll look at actually playing with the gradient tool on that. But yeah, that's kind of fun. So now if I want to play with all of these marquee cutouts that I made, what I will do is go up here and hold down Shift, tap the layer. So start with the layer below, hold down Shift, and then tap the one above, and it's going to grab everything in between. And then Control G is to group your layers together. It's up here. That is Control G, layer. I guess the shortcut's not in there. Thought it would have been, huh? Okay, so Control G. Oh yeah, a right click group visible. Shift T. So now I have that layer, and I'll name this my marquee, and then I usually go underscore GRP as a group of things. I can close that. Now, if I wanted to move everything in that group, now if I go to the move tool, right, and let's say I go, you see each of the layers are going to kind of light up as I move around here, right? So it's like that's going to be a different one. It's going to be this red one over here might be a little different. But if I wanted to select by group, I could do that now. I can click up here and it's going to move the entire group together. So that allows you to move the group with all of the layers in between it. All right, and if I want to transform that with the free transform tool, that was one we talked about in the first lecture in class, was the free transform, Control T. That's the most powerful one. If I hit Control T, it's going to let me to scale this uniformly, all of the layers that are part of that group. It's going to let me rotate it. And if I want to rotate it, if I want to undo that, if I want to scale it non-uniformly, I'm just going to hold down a Shift key, and now I can squish and stretch it however I want, from the X and the Y coordinate at least. And through the transform, free transform, let's look at free transform for a moment. Right click, and you have scale, you have rotate, you have skew. Those are available in the construction keys. You can also warp and do some other things. So that's really powerful. I can also flip it horizontal, so I can flip it one way or the other, right? So if I want to have like a mirror of this group, if I want to actually duplicate a lot of this stuff, I would hold down Shift and grab all of this. And you can click and drag that into a new layers icon that'll automatically make a copy of everything in one shot. I believe we could also go in here and then duplicate the layers, and that will create a new group, so marquee group with the copy. And now I can take all of those, holding Shift, make sure you have them all selected, move them over here, and hit Control T, free transform, right, and flip horizontal. And there we go. So now I have a mirror of these two. So you see now I'm almost making like a little critter out of this, right? Hit enter. There we go. So that's pretty interesting thing I made there. I don't know what it is. I'm just kind of having fun. That's what I want you to do with learning this. Just have fun with it. Don't try and make anything too precise. I can now take these two groups here and let me open, make sure I have everything selected. Take this group, go down here, hold down Shift to add to my selection. It's going to grab everything in between. Hit Control G one more time. Now you've nested or made a parent child. This group is within that group with all those layers in between each of those groups. So it gets fairly complex, and I'll just do, again, marquee underscore GRP and then underscore capital A, maybe something like that. Whatever alphanumeric system works for you to track what all the stuff is. Now, if I click and drag on the eyes here, and if I click and drag down, it's going to make all that stuff invisible. Now I can go here and we can look at Lasso. So Lasso is L on the keyboard. So I hold that down. You'll see the default is the new selection brush, but we don't want the Lasso tool or the magnetic Lasso tool because the newer selection brush, we're not making a selection. We're actually using the Lasso to make some shapes or playing with shape. Now, if I want to duplicate this, if I want to play with stacking a few of these layers, I'll go Control G, double click, and we'll call this lasso underscore GRP underscore A. There we go. And then I can go this lasso, and I like the name lasso, so I'll just want to replicate it. So Control J, Control J. This is replicate whatever layer you've selected. So we'll go to the first one here. And let's do some different colors than what we were playing with before. Let's see if this will stand out. Just kind of, yeah, reds and grays, nothing too exceptional there. So let's do something like blue. Play around with some blue. There we go. Make sure I'm in the right layer. And just going to do like a squiggle. And once I'm done with that shape, hold down Shift. I can add to it. Hold down Alt, and I can take away. So this is, whoops, hold down Alt, and I can take away. So this is a very organic. So I'm just using my mouse. So certainly if I were to get my drawing tablet out, that would be uh, optimal, right? I can really draw real specifics on my shape. But look at how fun this shape is I'm making here. It's kind of fun. So if I go Alt Delete, it's going to fill inside the lasso. Whatever I have used to select is going to fill with that foreground color. You can see I left a little gap open right there. So go Control D to deselect. So you see that little opening right there. So Z, you can zoom in. L, I can grab the rest of it and hit Alt Delete again. So filling it out, going back with the lasso tool again, and let's maybe carve in, I don't know, like some gills, something like that. So I have this little piece here that I can move around. So put it in like that, hit delete. It's going to use it to cut away. So it's making that shape. That's cutting away. And let's see if I go Control T, it's not going to do anything. Yeah, I don't think I can manipulate. There's a way to change that selection shape. But we can just go in here and make another shape. And Control D if I, R is my rotate, right? So if I want to come around here, that's what I was just fighting with there, that the stroke angle with my mouse was getting contorted. So if your hand ever gets cramped digitally, it's really easy to forget that you can just go in there and use the rotate canvas. So that way my left to right with my mouse, if I'm getting like, I'm cramping and cranking my fingers down in a weird position, just move the canvas to best suit whatever you need. All right, so that's my first shape. So let's go to the shape above it. So I'm going to go to lasso again, and this time I'm going to hold Shift L. Remember Shift, and then the shortcut for the tool will jump between the different types of lasso tools. So I'm holding Shift and tapping L. So it's Shift L and magnetic lasso. I'm sorry, polygonal lasso. So this is my polygonal lasso shape. So now what happens is I can get more geometric with it. So if I click and each time I tap, it's going to leave an anchor point. So now I can get like really straight lines in between. If I want to close it, I just go make sure I go around the tips of the corners there, come around the side like that and close that off. And now I can hit the Alt Delete key again, fill with my foreground color, or we could switch foreground and background, hit X on the keyboard, and let's do like a complement to blue. We'll do some sort of maybe burnt orange, something like that. Alt Delete, and there we go. Now, if I have that on its own layer, I can duplicate it. So, but let's finish this up first. So I guess so. Go click, click. So tap, tap, tap. If you don't like one, backspace. Each time you hit the, it should be undoing each anchor I dropped. Control backspace. Huh. Okay, backspace should undo each anchor point. Like click, 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 and then backspace. Huh. Did not work. I'll be darned. All right. Escape. Well, some of the shortcut keys I'm used to not working. Control D, deselect R. Let's rotate that around. Let's get the things coming off the fin, whatever I'm making here, coming off there. Just go the other side as well. So I'll just kind of make that as even as I can. There, backspace is working again. Oh, that's weird. It wasn't working at first. So if you don't like an anchor point, let's say I do this. I'm like, I don't like those ones I just did. Backspace will do one anchor point at a time. So if you get to where you made like a complex set of selection set with that, and then you get to the end and like, oh no, it's all whacked out. You just go backspace to get to the anchor point. spot that you need. So that's another one there. Let's use it. Let's go back to the first layer and let's do this to maybe carve out like some ISO. I don't know. I'm almost thinking like some, and then shift to add to my selection. I'm almost thinking of some like digital primitive cave painting type of deal, right? There we go. So I have this selection on there and I just hit the delete key. And I can still go in there with the M with the marquee tool, or if I do the lasso tool, it's going to keep continuing. If I go inside of the marching ants, it's okay. So I can bring it back here and hit delete, bring it back here, hit delete. There we go. But if I same thing with the marquee tool, whatever these marching ants now, they merge together. So we'll go to this top lasso point. We'll grab this one over here, and let's do, I don't know, something like eyeballs. I don't know. I'll just leave these. I don't want to try and get too specific yet. There we go. So I can do that, and then I hit Alt Delete. It's going to fill with that color. Now, if I want to take away from that, I can, let's go R, let's bring it around, rotate it. Remember, Shift will snap in most cases. Some of these tools have a radial or a constraint for X and Y on scale. Now I can go back in here and we can literally just hitting lasso until it goes around where I want, and then I can hit the delete key. Grab that, move, bring it back, hit the delete key. Bring that, bring it up, and delete. And there you go. So um, yeah, this works with the marquee tool and works with other selections to use shift and to add and alt to take away. And then you can just delete away. So we have this on a layer, we have this on a layer, and we have this on a layer, right? And so all of that is inside the lasso group, and I can turn this other one back on as well. So we can see so far what we've made. So we've made a bunch of geometric patterns. If I hit escape on the keyboard, it's going to bring it back down around for after I had used R to rotate it. But yeah, rotate your pictures. Look, rotate them upside down, reverse sideways, the other way, like whatever you get, and then just hit the escape key. That brings it back. So there's that one, and then there's this one. Two totally different shapes that have really nothing to do with each other than the fact that we're just showing you how the tools work. So I think for the next one, we're going to look at using the ellipse and some of the other tools in there, and maybe do some other shapes that are maybe have a little bit more circles and ellipses in them. All right, we'll see you in the next video.